The Royal Court announced that His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa will depart tomorrow, January 14th, to the Sultanate of Oman on a state visit. This comes at the invitation of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq of Oman, during which His Majesty the King and His Majesty Sultan Haytham will hold talks on the deep-rooted relations between the two countries, as well as regional and international developments. The visit of His Majesty the King to Oman reflects the historical relations and deep bonds shared between Bahrain and Oman and their peoples. The Bahraini-Omani relations enjoy special care and attention from His Majesty the King and His Majesty the Sultan of Oman in light of their historic brotherly relations that are based on unity of destiny and purpose. More in this report. The relations between the Kingdom of Bahrain and the Sultanate of Oman are rooted deep in history and are based on brotherhood and cooperation, making these relations a model to be followed in the region. The roots of these relations embody the spirit of brotherhood between the two countries and their peoples, where mutual visits have played a pivotal role in strengthening the strong relationship. The continuous and reciprocal visits between the leaders of the two countries come as a result of the well-established bilateral relations and the strong bonds of brotherhood that unite them. These visits represent a continuation of the process of renaissance, construction and development, led by the governments of both countries, serving the interests of all as part of the One Arab Gulf system. The foundation stone laid by the leaders of the two countries hundreds of years ago has led the way for relations between Manama and Muscat at all levels, paving the way for a number of cooperation, understandings and partnerships that have benefited the two countries and their peoples. His Majesty the King's state visit to Oman in 2000 was a prominent example of the depth of historical relations between the two countries, during which several agreements and MOUs were signed that strengthened the bonds of cooperation and coordination. Meanwhile, the visit of His Majesty the Sultan of Oman to Bahrain in 2022 also emphasized the strength of the fraternal ties between the two countries, their governments and peoples throughout history. The bilateral relations continue to develop, and the level of cooperation continued to strengthen at all levels and contributed to promoting development and prosperity for both countries. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from the Special Representative of His Majesty the King, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Mbarak Al Khalifa, on Bahrain's Diplomatic Day. His Highness said that His Majesty designating January 14th as a national day to celebrate Bahraini diplomacy, its cadres and employees, affirms its national role in promoting the country's achievements in various fields, protecting its interests, and developing relations of constructive cooperation and joint action between Bahrain and brotherly and friendly countries to achieve common interests and enhance the kingdom's position and efforts in consolidating security, peace and development at the regional and international levels. His Highness affirmed that the successes and active contributions of Bahraini diplomacy is thanks to the directives and visions of His Majesty, as well as his approach to positive openness and constructive cooperation with the international community, and spreading the principles of dialogue and solidarity with all nations and peoples within the framework of the values of tolerance and coexistence. He prayed to Allah the Almighty to bless His Majesty with abundant health and happiness. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from the advisor to His Majesty the King for Diplomatic Affairs, Sheikh Khalid bin Ahmed bin Mohammed Al Khalifa, on Bahrain's Diplomatic Day. Sheikh Khalid bin Ahmed emphasized that this national occasion reflects the vital role played by Bahraini diplomacy in various fields and at all levels and international forums. He stressed that Bahraini diplomacy will continue its successful journey in promoting Bahrain's achievements and further strengthening ties of friendship and cooperation with world countries for the benefit of the kingdom, thanks to His Majesty's unlimited guidance and support. He prayed to Allah the Almighty to bless His Majesty with abundant health and happiness to continue the march of progress and prosperity in the kingdom. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani, who on behalf of himself and all the ministry's employees conveyed to His Majesty the congratulations on the occasion of Bahrain's Diplomatic Day, which His Majesty designated on January 14th of each year to celebrate the long-standing Bahraini diplomatic march and its honorable achievements over more than half a century. He expressed his deep thanks and gratitude to His Majesty the King for his keenness and continuous support he gives to Bahraini diplomacy to fulfill its responsibilities in building bridges of cooperation and friendship with all countries of the world and looking after the interests of the country and its people abroad and enhancing Bahrain's position on the regional and international arenas. He renewed his pledge to His Majesty the King to continue on the path with sincere determination towards enhancing Bahrain's diplomatic march, guided by His Majesty's wise and insightful vision, and the directives of the government headed by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa to achieve the best interests for the country and its people. The Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa chaired the weekly cabinet meeting at Gdaybiyya Palace. The cabinet congratulated His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa on receiving the Leader Medal, the highest honor awarded by the Arab Parliament to Arab leaders in recognition of his efforts in serving Arab interests and supporting joint Arab action. In this regard, the cabinet praised His Majesty's role in advancing Arab cooperation by spearheading initiatives that benefit Arab nations and their citizens. The cabinet emphasized the importance of His Majesty's forthcoming state visit to Oman, during which His Majesty will meet the Sultan of Oman, His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. The cabinet noted the robust ties between Bahrain and Oman across various sectors. It highlighted the kingdom's achievements in regional and international sports, which were made possible through the support of His Majesty. The cabinet recognized the financial reward extended by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa to the Bahrain national football team following their victory at the 26th Arabian Gulf Cup. This marks Bahrain's second triumph in the competition. The cabinet also recognized the monetary incentives extended by the personal representative of His Majesty the King, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and the first Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa. These incentives reflect the kingdom's commitment to motivating its citizens to pursue excellence in sports and other sectors. The cabinet also expressed gratitude to private organizations and institutions that joined efforts to reward and support the national team based on the directives of His Royal Highness. The Ministry of Labor and the Ministry of Social Development have been assigned to collaborate on the registration of the violators of the Khutwa program, whose retirement pension payments were suspended to receive unemployment benefits for job seekers. The ministries will evaluate their potential eligibility for support services provided by the Ministry of Social Development. This process will be carried out after verifying that they meet the required conditions and regulations. The cabinet underscored the achievements of Bahraini women across various sectors, particularly the entrepreneurship, and highlighted the importance of the Global Women Economic Forum held in Bahrain under the patronage of Her Royal Highness, the wife of His Majesty the King and President of the Supreme Council for Women, Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa. The forum witnessed broad Arab and international participation. The cabinet commended the outcomes of the joint government parliament meeting, which was served to update the Council of Representatives on the implementation of the government program 2023-2026. The cabinet emphasized its commitment to strengthening integration and dialogue between the executive and legislative authorities and to maintaining coordination to achieving the government's development objectives. The cabinet reiterated the kingdom's commitment to advancing infrastructure projects in line with urban development and economic growth. In addition, special mention was made of the Muharraq Ring Road, inaugurated by the Deputy Prime Minister on behalf of His Royal Highness. The cabinet expressed appreciation to the Ministry of Works for its efforts. It also emphasized the importance of the Amakan Pearls initiative, part of the Phase 2 of the Saada project, and noted the private sector's role in driving infrastructure and development projects. The cabinet welcomed the capital governor's recognition by the WHO as a healthy governorate, making it the first in the Eastern Mediterranean region to achieve this designation. This milestone was attributed to the collaborative efforts of the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Health. On the occasion of the Bahrain Diplomatic Day, observed annually on January 14th, the cabinet highlighted the kingdom's diplomatic achievements in strengthening its regional and global presence. These accomplishments reflect the kingdom's comprehensive development goals led by His Majesty and supported by His Royal Highness. The cabinet extended its congratulations to Joseph Aoun, the newly elected president of Lebanon, following his victory in the presidential elections and his swearing-in ceremony. The cabinet wished him success in his tenure and expressed hopes for Lebanon's continued progress and prosperity. The cabinet extended its condolences to the U.S. over the tragic loss of life caused by the forest fires in California, wishing the injured a speedy recovery. The cabinet also extended its condolences to China for the fatalities and injuries caused by the recent earthquake in Tibet, wishing the injured a speedy recovery. The cabinet then approved the following: a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Community Services regarding proposals to enhance employment contracts in the private sector, A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding a draft law amending some provisions of the decree that regulates advertisements. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the draft resolution regarding banning the fishing, selling, and trading of small fish and crustaceans. The memorandum also covered a draft resolution on regulating the Bahraini fishermen license and limits on Bahraini fishermen per boat. A memorandum submitted by the Ministry of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture regarding property acquisition for public urban development purposes. And a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding the government's responses to 3 proposals submitted by the Council of Representatives. The Cabinet then reviewed a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Community Services regarding the labor market indicators for 2024. The memorandum revealed the creation of 27,147 jobs for Bahraini citizens, surpassing the annual target of 20,000 set under the Economic Recovery Plan. The Cabinet extended its gratitude to all private sector companies and institutions that contributed to the employment of Bahrainis in 2024. The memorandum also showed that 19,859 citizens have received training during 2024, surpassing the annual target of 10,000 set under the Economic Recovery Plan. The Cabinet then noted the following ministerial reports: the outcomes of the official visit of the Minister of Foreign Affairs upon the request of His Majesty the King to Syria, the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in an expanded Arab ministerial meeting on Syria, the visit by a delegation on technical and vocational education officials from GCC education ministries and institutions to learn about the Kingdom's expertise in technical and vocational education, and Bahrain's participation in the 14th Conference of Arab Ministers of Education. The representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, directed to bear the annual financial fees for the registration of riders and horses in a gesture that comes after an increase in the fees imposed by the International Federation for Equestrian Sports on all endurance sport participants. His Highness affirmed keenness to support riders and stables and contribute to reducing the financial burdens of horse owners, and this honor will raise the technical levels of the stables and riders in all competitions and will contribute to further development of the endurance sport. The BDF, represented by the Royal Medical Services and the Supreme Council of Health, signed an agreement to implement the RMS Hope Health Information System project. The signing ceremony was attended by the SCA Chairman, Lieutenant General Dr. Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, the Minister of Defense Affairs, Lieutenant General Abdullah bin Hassan Al Naimi, and the Minister of Health, Dr. Jalila Hassan. The project aims to enhance the quality of efficiency of Bahrain's public healthcare sector by adopting a unified and integrated system. The SCA Chairman affirmed that the health sector in the Kingdom is continuously developing thanks to the support of His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Deputy Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Prime Minister, and the BDF Commander-in-Chief. He noted Bahrain's keenness to develop the national health system and provide high-quality health services to all citizens and residents. He stated that the project is a strategic step towards replacing the current system iSahha with a new system that covers all clinical and administrative areas in government hospitals and health centers, adding that the project will be implemented in stages, beginning with primary healthcare centers and support services, and then government hospitals, while ensuring a seamless transition of data between systems. He also said that implementing a health information system will improve the quality of health services and ensure data privacy and integrity, noting that the unification of patient files between all hospitals and health centers will facilitate access to medical records in real time. The Minister of Defense Affairs affirmed that this cooperation will enhance integration between government and military institutions in providing health services, improving patient experience, and ensuring seamless data transfer between hospitals and health centers. The Minister of Health emphasized that this cooperation reflects the Ministry's commitment to support health services for citizens and residents, noting that the new system will provide a unified electronic file for every citizen and resident, which facilitates access to medical records and enhances communication among healthcare providers. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani, inaugurated the Diplomatic Forum 2025 in conjunction with Bahrain's Diplomatic Day, in the presence of heads of Bahrain's diplomatic and consular missions abroad, senior officials at the Ministry, and a number of heads of sectors and directors at the Ministry. During his speech, the Minister expressed pride in conveying the greetings of His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, and their appreciation to the Ministry's employees' tireless efforts in performing their tasks and duties in developing friendly and cooperative relations between Bahrain and brotherly and friendly countries. He noted that Bahrain's foreign policy is based on peace, human rights and development, and reviewed Bahrain's most prominent diplomatic successes achieved during the past period in these fields, most notably hosting the 33rd Arab Summit. Dr. Zayani discussed the pivotal role of Bahraini diplomacy in promoting international cooperation, stressing that the signing of the CCPA agreement is an achievement that reflects the strategic dimension of the kingdom's leadership and strengthens its position as a reliable partner in achieving security and sustainable development. He noted that Bahrain made remarkable progress in the field of human rights and stressed the importance of economic diplomacy and its role in promoting foreign investments and promoting Bahrain as a major destination for innovation and trade. The minister announced the launch of a bilateral relations platform that will document the history of Bahrain's bilateral relations with various countries. The Minister of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Waqf Nawaf al-Mauda signed the 1446 Hijri year Hajj arrangement agreement with the Saudi Minister of Hajj and Umrah, Dr. Tawfiq al-Rabi'a, on the sidelines of his participation in the 4th Hajj and Umrah Services Conference and Exhibition. The agreement is within the framework of the final preparations for this year's season. Bahrain's quota for this year is 4,625 pilgrims. Al-Mauda praised the efforts of the custodian of the two holy mosques and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia in developing services for pilgrims, ensuring their comfort and safety. He praised the efforts of the Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah in organizing the conference, which showcases the latest technical solutions and quality services in the Hajj and Umrah system and highlights the innovations that improve the pilgrims' experience. The Minister of Social Development, Assam Al-Alawi, met with Director of the Development and Social Policies Department, Technical Secretariat of the Council of Arab Ministers of Social Affairs, Dr. Tariq Nabilsi. They emphasized the importance of coordinating efforts and enhancing collaboration among member states to achieve shared goals. The meeting focused on further developing cooperation between Bahrain's Ministry of Social Development and the Council Secretariat, as well as preparations for the upcoming Arab Social Affairs Ministers' meetings. Al-Alawi commended the Secretariat's role in coordinating efforts among member states and emphasized Bahrain's commitment to supporting social initiatives in the region. Dr. Nabilsi expressed appreciation for the kingdom's leadership in promoting social development in the Arab world. He stressed keenness to the Council's Technical Secretariat to strengthen the partnership with the kingdom to support pioneering social programs and projects. The Minister of Electricity and Water Affairs, Yasser Ahmedian, participated in the Youth 2025 conference organized by the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, in the UAE, which aims to promote youth participation and addressing the challenges of the global energy sector. The minister emphasized Bahrain's commitment to the sustainable shift towards renewable energy, noting the kingdom's keenness to achieve its strategic goal of reaching carbon neutrality by 2060. He emphasized that Bahrain believes that youth are the main pillar to drive innovation and transformation towards a more sustainable energy sector, which contributes to achieving sustainable development locally, regionally, and internationally. The Customs Affairs and Crimson Logic Company signed memorandums for the pilot launch of the Customs Single Window OFO Q2 system after passing phases of the national project as part of efforts to promote customs services and information security. President of Customs, Sheikh Ahmed bin Hamad Al Khalifa, highlighted that the project is an integrated system aimed at facilitating commercial and customs operations. It is an innovative platform to unify commercial and logistics services through a single window, contributing to improving the efficiency of operations and facilitating customs and commercial procedures. The system is considered a pioneering solution to enhance transparency and speed up transactions, making it an essential tool for improving the business environment and international trade. Following the directives of the First Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the GSA and the Bahrain Sports Federation held a press conference to reveal the activities of Bahrain Sports Day 2025. GSA CEO Dr. Abdurrahman Askar expressed thanks and appreciation to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for the government support for the sports sector and the attention it pays to the Bahrain Sports Day, which is closely followed by His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad. He affirmed that the directives of His Highness came to hold the main event of Bahrain Sports Day every year in a different governorate to ensure the participation of everyone in this national event, which will be organized this year in Muharraq Governorate. He pointed out that Bahrain Sports Day 2025 kicked off last Friday through the 13th edition of the Revive Conference, followed by the Charity Football Stars and Legends match scheduled to be held on January 31st with the participation of international stars and important figures. He added that Bahrain Sports Day includes more than 115 different events so far. The WHO recognized the capital governorate as a healthy governorate, making it the first governorate in the Eastern Mediterranean region to receive this designation. More in this report.
Since the launch of the Healthy Cities program in 2017 by the World Health Organization, the WHO, Bahrain has been working across various domains to achieve the program's goals. The kingdom has established organizational structures, composed a shared vision, and focused on public health development to further improve population health and achieve sustainable development goals. As a result of these efforts, the capital governorate was recognized by the WHO as a healthy governorate, becoming the first in the Eastern Mediterranean region to receive this title. The governorate achieved this by providing high-quality health services, promoting healthy behaviors, and building effective community partnerships. In 2018, Al-Hassan was declared a healthy city and followed by Manam in 2021. The capital governorate stands out for its continuous efforts to improve the health of its residents and enhance environmental, social, and economic aspects that influence health. It also aimed to expand community resources that enable residents to support each other in performing and developing all functions to their fullest potential.
An implementation of the order of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 6,900 housing services to citizens, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning continues to provide housing services to beneficiaries. The ministry received a number of citizens who benefited from the ownership services by using the electronic draw feature. The electronic draw procedures are carried out smoothly according to years of demand, with the ministry's team explaining the procedures to the beneficiaries and presenting the available options for the process. The ministry will continue to communicate with citizens over the coming period to finalize the procedures for receiving housing services for the beneficiaries. The citizens praised the facilitated procedures during the service and the cooperation provided by the ministry.